Hey, everybody, it's Monday night. It's Always Bookin Comedy. We are short a guest at the moment, so we'll just do a quick solo episode. And if he shows up, we'll transition to that. So, what I want to talk about today is how to prepare to travel and do comedy. When you travel, you want to get spots, you want to do shows, you meet people all the time, online, in person. Sometimes traveling comics will come and do your open mics in your town, or they'll come and do a showcase, or you'll go see a headliner show at a club and maybe meet a traveling feature. You might also do a festival. You go to a festival, you might meet 10, 20, 30 working comedians around the country. And maybe somebody's from, Southeast Florida. And how do you remember that 2 years later when you're in Southeast Florida for whatever reason and want to get on some shows? So this was a question that was asked on Reddit today, and I posted some thoughts, and I thought I'd share some because it's something that I've worked on for the whole time I've been a comic. Ever since I used to ask comics for advice, like what would be the one thing you'd tell yourself if you traveled back to when you were getting started? What would you change? And somebody said he wished he kept a spreadsheet of different towns and cities and the comics he met in those towns and cities so that he could quickly, his wife traveled for work quite a bit. So if he was going to Indianapolis, he knows he met somebody in Indianapolis, but for the life of him, he can't remember it. I do 150 comedy shows a year. I probably see 500 comics a year. It's hard to keep everybody straight, but you can usually remember when you've met somebody from Amarillo, Texas. You might even remember one of their jokes, but it's hard to remember their name and figure out a way to track them down. So there might be lots of ways of doing this. I don't know that my ways are the best. One of the things that I do is have low expectations when you first go to a new scene. Just do an open mic. You might be above open mics. Maybe you're getting paid to headline even. It doesn't hurt to go to an open mic and support the local scene and meet some people, rub some shoulders, and be funny. And if you're funny enough, I've been booked the very next night. I don't think I've been booked the same night yet, but I could see that happening, where you do a mic and somebody wants to throw you an open spot. See what this is. I don't know what that is, but this is a live stream, so you can ask questions. We're missing our guest at the moment. Let me check in, see if they emailed back. No, nothing. So we're just talking about if anybody has questions for a working comedian. That's what I am. Cool. Well, a little disappointment for you there. He has not shown up, and I'm not sure he's going to. So we're doing a solo episode right now. So where was I? Oh yeah, go to a scene, be funny. Sam Talent taught me this. You just go, you be funny. I mean, there's scenes I've been going back to every year for 5+ years. And now randomly I'll end up in that city or one of those cities, and I can easily hop on a show. First 1, 2, 3 years, I'm doing open mics. Then eventually somebody gets you on a showcase. Somebody pays you to do a showcase. Maybe somebody reaches out specifically to get you to travel. So yeah, hello across the pond. Glad to have you here. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, I'm a big phone number person, which is kind of old school. I'm older, and I like to get people's phone numbers. And when I do, I put them into my phone with the name of the place I met them. So if I meet a Tim Smith, they might become Tim Chicago comic Smith. And then I can search my contacts in my phone later for Chicago comic, or in my case, I was kind of sloppy in the beginning. I've a mixture of comic, comedian, probably some other versions, funny person. And so I got to do a couple things. But if I search for Chicago, I can see all my contacts are from Chicago. I just got to scroll through and look for the ones that are comedy specific. and it's pretty easy to find people. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 would be go to a festival. If you go to a festival, you're like be on a festival. Well, actually, what I meant was apply to a festival and be a submission comedian at a festival. But you can also, I do this every year. I go to multiple festivals that I'm not performing on. So like the most recent one would have been Skank Fest in New Orleans. I went there. I met a comedian that I just worked with last month at that festival. They're great networking opportunities, whether you're getting on stage or not. Here we go. British legend Tommy Cooper from the 70s and 80s. No, but let's see what we can find out about old Tommy boy. I know about the Who's Tommy. Let's see if he's a comedian and magician, looks like. Oh, I feel like I've seen a video of him. Yeah, I kind of recognize him. He passed away in 1984, a Welsh prop comedian and magician. He was 6'4", big fella. That's pretty cool. So yeah, go to festivals. And when you go to the festival, follow all those other tips, write it down in the spreadsheet, put it in your phone and contacts underneath where you met the person. Just try to be organized. You'd be surprised how quickly you get disorganized after years and years of doing this. Tip number 4 is make some friends who also are like-minded and travel and go to a lot of different scenes. Some comics, no shade on this, they'll stay in their own scene for 5-10 years, never travel. I know incredible comedians in the Denver scene that I don't think have ever left the state of Colorado, certainly not for comedy. And they're awesome. But there are also other comics who, like the example I gave before, wife travels for work, so they get to bounce around pretty easily the country. If you can get in with some of those folks, it's easy to text somebody and say, hey, I'm driving from Denver to Arkansas. Have you done this route? And do a little homework ahead of time. Look at the map and be like, can you think of a gig in Wichita, Kansas, or any of these other towns that are between point A and point B? And most working comics will have kind of log of shows they've done, and they'll remember, yeah, I did do a show in Wichita, and they might not know off the top of their head unless they go there every year, but they can go back into their notes and say, oh yeah, there was this guy, he owned a bowling alley. I popped up my own show there. I had to bring my own lights and sound. I got paid X dollars. I should have asked for a free meal because the food was really expensive, or I stayed at this motel. They can give you all kinds of tips. So that can be very helpful. That's tip number 4. And I think we're just about out of tips for that topic. And if we don't have any live questions from anybody watching online, I think I'm just going to wrap this up early. We're going to make this a nice short episode, and we'll see if we can get our guest rescheduled sometime in the future. Let me just double check that I got the right person. Yeah. I don't know what happened. Definitely accepted. Hold on a second. Huh. Well, this is interesting. I think. Oh, there we go. Yeah. For sure. We got a little confusing. Next week we have a comedian with the same first letter, so the email was confusing. He's a grandpa, so technology might be a challenge. Are you talking about Rafe? Is Rafe a grandpa? That doesn't seem right. Maybe he is. I don't know. Anyways, we'll try and stretch this to 10 minutes so we at least get to double digits. I will mention that, okay, Rafe is a grandpa. Maybe he got stuck. Yeah, we can talk about Tommy a little more. He was a big guy. Yeah, my uncle was stage manager and compere at the London Palladium in the 80s. What an incredible sentence. I don't really know what a Palladium or a compere is, but Palladium, I'm going to assume, means like auditorium. Let's learn a little over the pond. Well, it's an element. Palladium. Maybe that was a typo. I don't know. Or maybe that's a fancy way of saying, oh, here we go. Performing Arts, Palladium, Hollywood Palladium, Concert Hall. Yeah, I don't really, it's some kind of fancy place to see the arts. And then compare, sounds like a French word for like roadie, maybe. An opening act, person who introduces the performers or contestants in a variety show. Host, a compere. I just got a nice upgrade. I am a compere. I will be hosting on Wednesday in Idaho Springs, but nay will I host. I will compare in Idaho Springs, Colorado, and Thursday and Friday and Saturday, all around the mountains of Colorado. I'm excited to be comparing this. I wonder how you say that. Compare, pair. With an ague accent mark. All right, everybody. That's been Always Bookin Comedy. Short episode this week. We'll be back next Monday. We got a killer episode then. And I hope everybody has an awesome week. Bye-bye.